Hello, and how are you doing? Thank you so much for choosing to consume another video. I hope that by the time you're watching this, you are enjoying amazing health and well-being, and I'm sending you great energy. So this is video number 3. And as always, let me start with that disclaimer. I think it's important that I put it at the beginning of every video just to ensure that um, whoever consumes this video knows that number one, I am not a professional. I am not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I am, however, a guy who has gone through crazy addiction. And I am so blessed to say that as I record this, I am coming up on 12 years of sobriety. So everything I share on these videos is purely based on my life experiences. It's based on the information and the tools that I've gathered over the last 12 years. And the reason I'm doing all this is so that you can take that blueprint and avoid some of the pitfalls that I fell into, um, possibly avoid some of the challenges that I've been through. In essence, excuse me, this videos are meant to help you gain a sense of confidence as you start out on your journey of recovery. So, with that out of the way, the title of this video 3 is Self Forgiveness. Self Forgiveness. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that we were going to go so deep so quickly. But I have put together the sequence of these videos based on the realizations I made also in the sequence that I made them in, meaning that I was able to recognize the fact that being able to deal with self-forgiveness when I did played a crucial role in helping me kind of establish a foundation for my recovery. And so in the interest of being true to the process that I've been through, because in essence, this is a blueprint. I'm trying to give you a blueprint that you may be able to use. So I'll stick to that sequence of events. And so it goes without saying that a lot of the trauma we carry inside um, is really the starting point of our dependency and substance addiction. The trauma may come from as far back as childhood. The trauma may be maybe was acquired as a young adult or even as a fully grown adult. But those traumas, at least speaking from my own experiences, come with a level of unworthiness, a level of self-loathing, self-hatred. And we go seeking out substances because we are trying to numb that pain. We're trying to fill some kind of void we have within ourselves based on experiences that we've had and things that we've been through. Um, it took me going to rehab twice to realize this. I mentioned that there was absolutely nothing wrong with the very first rehab I went to. Quite the contrary. In fact, it was an amazing and still is a very amazing rehab. One of the things that I felt, or at least in retrospect, have realized that I could have done better was some of the things that we're talking about now, self-forgiveness and the process um, it took me through. So allow me to share from my own experiences in a bid to give you some kind of context on how you could implement self-forgiveness in your own journey. Yeah. All right. All right. So the first person I had to give forgiveness to was myself. And for many reasons. I needed to forgive myself for letting myself down, for allowing my drinking to ruin what was becoming a truly wonderful career. I needed to forgive myself for failing to recognize how precious my life was when I tried to end it so many times. FYI, until the last attempt, if you watched the previous video, my last attempt was I had procured a firearm, and the idea was I was going to use it to end my life. That was the last in 7 attempts that I've had on my life throughout my life. The very first attempt was I might have been in primary school. Yeah, I think I was. So I've tried 7 times, and those these are some of the things that I think about sometimes, and they make me wonder why. Let me explain. I've I know 3 friends who, okay, actually two. One just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and his life ended very abruptly. Such a promising human being. The other two tried taking their lives exactly once, and they are not here today. I have tried 7 times, and I won't go into the details. I'm not trying to give anyone any ideas on how to do so, but I have been very categorical with my attempts. They did not fail because I didn't do them right. They failed, I'd like to believe, because maybe I'm supposed to be here. Maybe there's some work that I'm supposed to do um, that makes somebody else's life hopefully better. So anyway, I also needed to forgive myself for giving up on all my dreams and all the gifts that I've been given. I needed to forgive myself for all the people I disappointed who believed in me and sacrificed for me. I needed to forgive myself for taking for granted some amazing opportunities that Almighty had given me. Um, I need to forgive myself for hating myself enough to try and take my life 7 times. And I needed to forgive myself for failing to recognize how extremely blessed I was and am. Um, I have made this the first official topic in this journey that we will take together, because truth is, unless we tackle it, and unless we're willing to open ourselves up to the process it comes with, none of the pointers, the tools, the information I'm going to share with you in future videos will have much value for you. It is the very process of literally going in, looking at the possible self-loathing that you've compounded for yourself, about yourself, and be willing to see someone worth loving. That's what self-forgiveness is really about. It's the willingness to say, I've messed up. There are many things I've done that I'm not proud of. Um, but somewhere deep down inside, I believe I'm someone worth loving. And before I put the load of loving me on someone else, I must first find enough empathy towards myself to actually forgive myself as an act of love towards myself. That's where we must start here. I've mentioned some of the things that I needed to forgive myself because um, you, the process of going inward and seeking self-forgiveness is just that. It's you must be willing to go inside of yourself and identify those things that have happened in the past, those things that you've done in the past, those things that you took part in that made you feel a sense of self-hatred, a sense of self-loathing, things that you feel make you a horrible person. In the process of these videos, I'm going to share a lot of stuff that I'm not proud of. But here's the truth. Without every single one of those things, there's no way I'm the guy I am today. I'm not perfect. I keep saying that, but I'll tell you this. I am so honored to be me. I'm so blessed to be me. I feel so lucky to be me. All those things that we're talking about here, including the ones that we are not particularly proud of, on the other side of self-forgiveness, on the other side of building a base for your recovery, there will be value for even those things. The experiences you've gone through, going through those very things that you feel some type of way about, will make you a stronger person, will make you a more empathetic person, will make you a more sensitive human being, will make you a whole human being, a whole person. I won't go into the details of it because it's definitely a bit technical, but there's some stuff I've been reading recently, and it introduced me to the concept of your shadow side. Forgive me for borrowing this term, but yin and yang, light and dark. We've been we've been taught to believe that one must only ever seek the light. I've become a very strong believer that both light and darkness are required for you to be a whole human being, to be a wholesome person. I'm not saying to lean into the dark and do evil, but you must have the courage to face the darkness that's inside you. That's what self-forgiveness is. The journey of going through and finding those things that you must forgive yourself is you leaning into the darkness. You want light, you want a beautiful life, you want love, you want serenity, you want grace, and all those things are available to you. Believe it or not, they are available to you. But in order for you to perceive just how available to you they are, you must be willing to look into the darkness that you perceive as your life with courage and trembling sometimes, and look there and forgive yourself. So, how do you go about this? At a different stage, I'll talk about journaling. Allow me to introduce it at this stage. Find a way to journal. The best is old school. Man, I write. Then again, I'm inclined to writing. I write a lot. I always have one of these. Yeah. This is I just started. It's a new one. It's fresh. I like it when they're new. It means there is more things to say to myself. So it could be as simple as finding one of these and just picking a time. I personally prefer to journal at the end of every day before I say my evening prayers and call it a night. Um, Maybe a better time for you might be during, like when you wake up in the morning, or you might decide afternoon works better for you. Either way, it needs to be a time that is predetermined. You need to even set a reminder to do it. And as you journal, allow yourself to walk and look into that darkness. Allow yourself to, the very things that you're trying to push at the back of your head because you don't want to think about them because they make you feel some type of way. Those are the things you must face. Write them out. I'll give you an example. I remember vividly writing about women in my life. I'm generally a decent chap, or at least I try to be a gentleman, but there are many people I used for my own selfish interest. There are many people who I made promises to that I never kept. There are many people who believed in me and even denied themselves things so that I can be better off. And those are people I let down. And the reason why they're so top of mind for me is because I literally took the time to journal them out and walk back and really stare at that what's the word I'm looking for here? That self disappointment. You must look it in the face and it must see that while you do not like it, you're not afraid of it. If writing down on a journal is not something that feels, I was going to say comfortable, but none of this is going to be comfortable. Yeah. A journal is practical. It is a great way to do it. And maybe you don't want to do it on an actual physical book. Maybe you want to do it somewhere in your cloud where it's going to be safe and no one can read it. Or maybe you want to open a Word document on your computer and that's where you want to have your journal. But in the event that you're not able to express yourself well, or you're not able to bring out your thoughts in writing, try record voice notes. Yeah. With WhatsApp now, you're able to send yourself stuff. Go record voice notes. Lock yourself in a room or go take a walk somewhere where you're alone and talk about individual moments that you need to forgive yourself for. Another thing I must mention is take time. Don't try and rush it because it's an uncomfortable process and you want it to be done quickly. Allow yourself to really go through. And if you're anything like me, and I think you are, or at least we've been through similar experiences. We've gone through the process of addiction. We've gone through the process of just trying to drown the pain out. So I think we have a lot in common. You'll find that the moment you give your attention to those things that you need to forgive yourself for, they'll start to surface very quickly. Because they want to surface and be dealt with so that you can be at peace inside again. I'll keep my word on this video. I won't make it long. So allow me to recap. Self-forgiveness, brutal but super necessary. Allow yourself to go deep. Allow yourself to think about the things that you're disappointed by yourself, not anyone else. Things that you wish you did differently. Things that you said or did to people. Promises you didn't keep. Ways that you perhaps have failed yourself, and ways that you have failed to honor the gift of life that has been given to you. Spend time, write those out, speak them out, let them come to the forefront, yes, or foreground of your mind, and let them be dealt with so that they stop hunting you. That is the process of staring into your darkness courageously and boldly. And I promise you, it's going to unlock the capacity to go through everything else we're going to go through in a way that I can't explain. It's possible for you to go through everything we're going to go through without doing this part properly, but I promise you, the value you get out of this process after having gone through self-forgiveness adequately is going to change your life. All right, then, let me conclude this one so that I can get into the next one. I hope that there's value for you in these things. I know we've just begun. It is my absolute hope that there's value in these videos for you. And it is my hope and prayer that as you begin your journey into recovery, that you may find the courage to keep going, that you may keep taking it a day at a time, an hour at a time, a minute at a time. Just be present and remember, no matter how much you find yourself aching for who you used to be because it was easy and you knew how to do that, remind yourself that within the sobriety that you have today is the possibility, infinite possibility for who you can become tomorrow. And if something happens and you're watching this video and you've just relapsed, that too is part of the process. Don't hold on to that self-loathing. Again, I know this only too well from personal experience. I hated myself so much for allowing myself to relapse, and I had to let go of that pain and I had to forgive myself for it. It's going to get better. It's going to get easier. But first, we must be willing to do the hard work. All right, then. See you on video 4.